Hey guys, it's mid-January 2022. We're about 2 weeks away from the first race of the 2022 race season, and we've got a heck of a season ahead of us. Biggest season ever for the BMW Race Club. We have a total of 10 races this year, 2 of which are at Kyalami. One in the first week of next month, where we'll actually be racing a larger field, split into 2. So really looking forward to that. But we're looking to try and just touch on a couple of the issues which let us down last year, and to let you know what we've done about them. So really there were 2 things which were a bit of a thorn in our side as we finished up the 2021 season. The first was the exhaust system, and really not the exhaust itself, but more 2 issues to do with the exhaust. The first is that it kept on eating oxygen sensors, which meant that we really couldn't do any reliable logging. We didn't make any progress on tuning. So we ran the car in pretty much a stock state of tune for the entire season. The second thing is that we do want to look at getting a little bit of aero working on this car, so that we can get a bit of downforce, carry a bit more speed through the corners. And our first port of call as far as that is concerned is really to clean up the underbody, and to get a nice smooth underbody going all the way to the rear, possibly ending in a diffuser. And the current exhaust, or the original exhaust system, really didn't allow for that, because of course it's snaking around the rear subframe and so on. So what we've done, and Nick, if you'll sneak in underneath here just to explain what it is that we were talking about, is the original system. And maybe swing around from this side, Nick, and see if we can get a better angle over here. The original system came down, as you guys are aware, we're running the S50 headers. We came down then into an X pipe over here, and this is where we were putting in our oxygen sensor previously. So a couple of pitfalls with that. Firstly, we are really only measuring the back bank, and secondly, we just think it's possible, or the reason that it was gobbling up oxygen sensors and killing them all the time is possibly that it's just too close to the exhaust outlet and the manifold. So we wanted to get it a little bit further away. Then the second issue was that the original exhaust was really tucked in underneath this transmission tunnel, but this is where it really got messy here at the back, and we had to navigate around the rear subframe, the rear axle, and then come out in our very nasty industrial looking exhaust tailpiece over here. So what we decided to do in true race fashion was to get rid of all of that and to take the exhaust out the side. So effectively what you can see here is I modified our X pipe and turned it effectively into a Y pipe. As it came out and flared into a 76, 90-degree elbow, a short stub, a little flexi just to absorb the rocking of the engine, and then straight into the passenger cabin. And the pipe actually then runs perpendicular to the axis of the car, right in front of the passenger seat mounting bracket, which we have left in place so that we still have the flexibility to put a seat in place. So normally when guys would do a side exit pipe like this, they would come in not through 90 degrees at a slightly reduced angle and really go diagonally through the car in this direction and pop out somewhere underneath where the rear door is on a 4-door car. But in our case, we really have popped out at 90 degrees. And I'm not sure if Nick will be able to show it, but we've got ourselves here a pretty sexy looking side exit exhaust with a little bit of an aluminium heat shield. So yeah, there's obviously no silencing on it. It sounds pretty raucous, and what we've got inside the car is an aluminium heat shield fashioned around it just to keep everybody from being burnt to death. So that does 2 things for us, guys. It relocates our bung. So what we've now got is we've got our bung actually on the end of the pipe somewhere over here, and it's a far distance away, and it is in obviously the overall airflow of the pipe. So we'll be measuring the net average of what's coming through both cylinders. And then, as you can see here now, this whole section is completely clean. So we are now free to go and do a smooth underbody underneath here, and if we wish to kind of finish on up here, to tuck in, lift up, and get ourselves a little bit of a diffuser going at the back. So yeah, let's see how that goes. And then on to the second thing that we were experiencing, which is a bit of a pain, is we have been running stock brakes up front, well, stock brakes up front and at the back. The only real upgrades to the braking system that we were running last year was a race pad. We're running Endless ME20s, I believe. Great pad, really fantastic, and it got us through effectively a season and a half, probably about 14 race meetings, or maybe not that many, 11 race meetings all in all. The second upgrade was just a relatively minor thing where we went for braided stainless steel brake hoses. And obviously we've got a bit of ducting that we brought in there, only through the middle of last season sometime. That's important to keep the brakes cool, and really the main reason for that is longevity of the pads more than anything else, because we really didn't suffer from any fade, but it really just is pad longevity if we can run them a little bit cooler. And then we run race brake fluid, either RBF 600 or RBF 660. Quite frankly, the RBF 600 is absolutely fine for this car. So that was where we were at, but we were often picking up a little bit of kind of front end instability under braking. Weren't sure what it was. We were looking at the steering rack. We were wondering whether we had an issue in steering rack, steering column. And eventually we had it resolved when we skimmed our brake discs. So it's clearly something coming from the brakes, but it comes back quite quickly and quite periodically. So running stock discs is probably not ideal on these cars, but that said, we really don't have a lot of options for aftermarket stuff here in South Africa, so well, that's what it is. Anyway, that said, we have actually managed now to come up with a bit of an improvement. I bought a set of additional brake bits and pieces from a colleague of ours who races. He was doing an upgrade on his car. So this is just effectively a Vari brake disc. It's a South African local performance brake manufacturer. So the discs are a little bit better, and as part of the deal we basically got discs, a new set of calipers which we gave a fresh lick of paint to, and finally the pads that we're now running in here are PFCs, that's performance friction, 8 compound. We haven't tried them out yet, but they are also very much a go-to performance pad with great longevity. It's pretty much an endurance compound, so for we guys who are trying to get at least a season, if not a season and a half out of a set of pads, then things like PFC 08s and Endless ME20s are probably the pads to go for. So yeah, guys, so that's what it is. We've got a little bit over a week to go before this thing's got to try and tear up the rubber in anger, and we've been fiddling a little bit, taking out a bit of wiring and so on. So we hope that we haven't touched something we shouldn't have touched, and that the car will actually get to the track and be reliable and complete the race. So we'll see how it is, and we'll keep you guys in the loop. Thanks for watching. Cheers.